Hi everyone. It's this is Leigh. I'm a mortgage lender with Rapid Mortgage, and Samantha, a realtor, and we are doing a happy hour version of some market updates. And so just
I
wanted
love
to
that we both got white wine. I just realized that. I'm usually a red girl.
I actually have sparkling rosé. So
Oh,
yeah.
fancy. With a Pinot Gris, but I usually have a cab or something red, and I just went for white.
Yeah. Well, the weather's been so nice, right?
I know. It's so hot outside. I was like,
So we just wanted to kind of give you guys an update on what's going on in the market. The biggest thing that I've been getting questions about from a mortgage perspective is the forbearance programs. And I have people who are calling me and are not affected, or their jobs have not been affected, at least yet, by the virus. And they are calling and saying, hey, I'd like to not pay my mortgage for a couple months. Is that an okay thing to do? My thing is no, don't do that, because unless you really can't, if you can make your mortgage payment, do it, because this is what's going to happen. And forbearance programs are not a new program. I had a client that got into some serious trouble, was moving here from California, had been in a forbearance program and didn't realize all the terms of it. So I had some experience with it last year. So the number one thing is, if you cannot make your mortgage payment and you need to do a forbearance on your loan, call your servicer. That's the number one thing. People think, government said I don't have to pay my mortgage, so I'm just not going to pay it. No, you have to call them and set it up. The number two thing is to get it in writing and get what the terms are, because a lot of the government hasn't put forth what they want to do, or how they need to handle, the servicers need to handle it. So what most people are doing is, say, for instance, your mortgage is $1,000 a month and you are in forbearance for 3 months. So you're going to owe in your fourth month $4,000 all at once. And then
you get to 4,000 from there. Can you explain that to us?
So yeah, each month the three is for the 3 months is 1,000, and then the fourth month will also be due at that time too.
So it all comes due at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Cheat and make some principal drops in there along the way. Is that possible? Do you know?
It's going to depend on the servicer. I would do that if you could, or you would just save it all until you're ready, until that big payment comes. But then, so say you go to them and you're like, I can't pay all $4,000. And they're like, okay, well, you need to pay $2,500 for the next 3 months then to get caught up. $2,500 is still a lot,
Right. If you're used to paying 1,000, for sure.
Right. So, I'm telling people there's a couple of options that you can do if you don't want to do a forbearance program. One of which is to refinance. If you have over like a 4% rate, it's probably a good idea to just look at it anyways as an option. If you've been in your mortgage, and plus if you do have job loss in the family and you're on like a 15 or a 20-year loan, it might make sense to go to a 30-year loan for the time being. And then when the job resolves itself, to make extra payments on that loan, a year to catch it back up to where you were. Another thing, another good option would be maybe to list it. The market's still super hot, and people are still buying and selling houses. And Samantha, do you want to talk a little bit about that and what the precautions people are taking and what the rules are? Because I see people going under contract every day.
Yeah, for sure. So depending on where you are now, obviously North Carolina as a state now has a mandated stay-at-home order. Started in Mecklenburg County and then went to Gaston. But I've had buyers still looking to purchase. I've got one of my buyers actually is out of state. Well, two of them are, but one of them in particular, they're out of state and they are looking, like I'm talking looking hard every day. I just went earlier today and did a virtual tour. So I go to the home, I schedule the home showing as I would as if I have the buyer with me, but I just let the agent and the seller know that it's going to be myself, an agent preview, and I'm going to do a virtual tour for my clients, because you actually have to get permission from the seller to video their house. I mean, because you've got their belongings in there and there's a lot of personal stuff that goes along with that too. So for us, we're doing some back leg work, but everyone's been super gracious during this crazy time to allow that to be a possibility. And you just go in, and I've done videos and I email it to them so that they can take a look at the home, how it flows, to see if it makes sense for one of them to come down. Now, in that particular case, she's pregnant, so she's like, no matter what, I'm buying the house sight unseen because I'm not getting in an airplane right now. Like, she's got a lot of reasons that that's just not an option. So I'm basically her eyes and ears on the ground. And then when I find something, once we've done about 7 or 8 of these in the last week, and they have either, and this is not an exaggeration, they've either gone under contract, one went on and off the market almost immediately, and the seller, well, I know the listing agent said the seller just kind of got cold feet, they got scared. But so that's really unfortunate, because it's, buyers want to buy, but the inventory right now is so slight that it's hard to find, especially when you're looking for something in particular. It may not be there. So if you find it, I think that now would be a good time to jump on it. And if you're looking under 4 to sell, you should list. If you're even somewhat on the fence about selling your house and worried about the virus and people coming in, look, y'all, I've got a basket where I keep my booties. Look, keep booties in a basket. Take your shoes off. Put these on. I plan on, for my next listing that's coming on, adding to the basket another one of these, adding gloves and face masks, just for your own protection, for the seller's additional peace of mind. I mean, it's a new world we're living in, but it's one extra step to give you that much more comfort and make it that much easier for someone to, purchase a home, sell their home, and move on with their life, like move on to the next chapter. This does not have to be the end all be all. Don't stay stuck. If you can't do a refi, if you can't do the forbearance, if there's nothing else and you're sitting on a gem, you've got a beautiful home that you can sell right now, sell it. Take advantage of the market.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that brings up a good point. People are asking me a lot about interest rates right now because there is such uncertainty in the market. I will say interest rates are still very low. They are better on conventional than they are on government loans right now. So most people that I would put into an FHA loan by chance, if they're on the fence between, I'm trying to push into a conventional just because the rates seem to be a little bit better right now. Today.
Now, does that mean that they've got to put more down? Because I know for FHA, you're 3.5 down. So.
Yeah, 3.5%. So there is a conventional program that allows you to put 3% down, but it has income limits. So but most of the time people who want to put 3% down fit within that range. So they can do that program. And if you don't qualify for that, if you're over the income limit, then you can put down as little as 5% on a conventional. So it's at that price point, it's not that much of a difference. It can be, but we try to, when there's that situation, you try to do some creative things like get some more seller paid closing costs or something like that to offset some of the costs.
Sure, absolutely. And that's where you come in with negotiating. It makes it a lot easier at a time like this to ask the seller for more. Maybe you give them what they want on the list price. Because a lot of times, especially in South Carolina, that's actually protected by the appraisal.
Right.
It has to meet the appraisal requirements in order to be in with the contract. It's part of the contract agreement. So, but I wanted to ask you, when you said on the forbearance portion, just kind of going back to that really quick, get it in writing. So if I've got a client that I know that, we closed a couple years ago now, but if they're calling to get is that something that obviously the lender is going to know when they call the mortgage service provider, they're going to know what to do. Are they going to provide them that writing, or is this something that you need to be transcribing? Like, how do you do that? What is that?
They'll provide it. I've seen a bunch of, I've seen a lot of big servicers. I've seen what they're doing. A lot of them are doing that. If you're off for 3 months, they're telling you it's all due in the 4th month. Just make sure to read what they're writing, and they will provide it to you in writing. I've seen a lot of the major banks. I've seen Wells, client with Wells. I've seen Chase's. A lot of the big servicers I've seen already. So they are providing that and telling you what the terms will be when it's over.
Okay, and then I'm sorry, I hate to bounce around.
No.
Like I said, I see all the screens. At least I'm taking notes. But I did want ask on the, so you said you've got a conventional program. You can do as little as 3% down, 5% down for most conventionals. If you're looking at, okay, so let's say the rates are the same, because from what I'm hearing from my clients right now, they're pretty similar on conventional anyway to what they were in January, February. They haven't changed much. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so with that though, again, from what I understand, this is just hearsay.
Right.
Truth. Are reserves different? Are income requirements, credit score requirements, are those things changing?
Yes, and they're changing every day. So it's hard to keep up with. That's why I keep telling people, if you have been pre-approved, you need to check in with your lender if they haven't checked in with you about what's going on, because a lot of the government programs are raising the credit score, and that honestly goes back to the government saying about the forbearance thing. They haven't told the servicers how they're going to help them, because servicers still have to make the payments if you're not, if that makes sense. So what they've done is they're decreasing their pool of people who can buy a loan right now to protect themselves in case they do have half their loans not paying. So obviously there's a certain amount of money and they have to be able to keep that cash flow, right? So they're basically limiting things right now. One of the big things is below a 640 credit score on an FHA. If you are below, if you're in that bucket, you're good. Everybody needs a little grace right now.
Hi, everyone, and then go. Wait, look, say hi. This is my bear.
Hi.
Say hi, Bubba. Hi.
Sweet.
Okay. All right, now go. I love you. Bye.
But so yeah, the biggest thing is
you said
below
was
640.
Is that a limit for VA FHA or?
Yes, at least, and particularly at my company, we would go down to 580, no problem. And now it's just on a case by case basis. So yeah, it's not as easy in those credit scores. Everybody above that is fine. There's not. But that bucket of people, that's where we're seeing the most changes.
Okay, awesome. Sorry about that.
It's okay. So what are you seeing? What are you seeing in the market right now? How are the listings? Are people still listing their house?
Honestly, so a lot of and like it changes every day. Like you said, it changes daily. I feel like at the beginning of March, there was a lot less fear and more kind of confusion. People like, oh, I want to hurry up and list my house now. Like I've got a client in particular, they've got a higher end property, and in March they were like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to go ahead and list now. We were originally talking about going in on the market, June timeframe was what I'd given them to get some things done that they were going to do. And when he saw all of this coming, there was kind of like, again, that confused thing of, oh, let me go ahead and do it now. And I'm like, no, don't rush into it, because, we don't know what's going to happen, especially, again, it so much depends on your price point and where you are geographically. But I've since told him, I'm like, look, because there's a lot of the fear setting in now and people are getting a little bit more panicky, and the numbers are rising every day, unfortunately. And it's not here today, gone tomorrow, where I think a lot of us in that, beginning of last month, were kind of hoping it was going to be gone just as quickly as it kind of came on us. But at the same time, there are plenty of clients. I've got one right now. If there was a perfect home, Baxter, Fort Mill, shout out to you, around 400K higher, they need you. So if it were, that perfect mix, we'd be under contract. And the funny thing is, they actually came down twice, and they live up in Pennsylvania. So they, had the shutdown. Everything kind of happened for them faster and sooner than it did here. So they were no longer able to travel because of restrictions. And then now, obviously no one is, because again, that panic has set in. But if you are at a price point that is prime, which again, South Carolina for sure, anything under 4, the Charlotte area, if you're in or around that 300 bubble, that's prime real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them come on the market today and they're gone tomorrow amidst all of this coronavirus craziness. People still have to move. Lives are still going on. This isn't the end of the world. It's just a hiccup that unfortunately we weren't ready for.
Right. And I think that that's something that is important to point out. People keep asking us or saying, it's going to be, is this going to be 2008 over again? Is this going to be a bubble? No, it's not.
No.
This is a brief thing that's happening and we will rebound. And the other biggest thing is the last housing bubble was caused by the housing market, like by the industry. Yes. So like the lenders and the realtors and the appraisers, it was caused by that. This is not that. So
no, we were very conservative going into it. The market was level. You lenders have done a great job of pre-approving people and making sure that they qualify for where they are. And homeowners have gotten a lot more conservative on the buy side. You know, they're not over investing in their homes. They're not pulling equity lines. They're not doing HELOCs like they were.
Right.
So there's a lot. We're just in a way better position than we were in 2008 when all of that.
Agreed. Right. So, yeah, everything will be okay. We'll all return back to normal. Everybody's going to be okay. It's just going to be one little thing. Yes, it's definitely going to be a time to remember.
Yes, it will. Like I said, that's a lot. It started confusion and then now there's fear and then I'm sure it will get back into that confusing. I'm just ready for the quarantine to be over.
Yeah.
I got like a list of things I got to do. I need to go. Things I need to do, and unfortunately,
and it might be, and like me, I'm want to buy a new house. You know why? Because my 1,600 square foot house in the city is not big enough for the three of us. So that's another good reason to list, because
a great reason to sell.
And another great reason to buy now if you want to, because you're essentially eliminating some of your competition that will be there once the quarantine is lifted. And like virtual tours are not a new thing. Like Samantha was talking about, people have to come by sight unseen with just doing a virtual tour all the time. So when they move here from out of state. So I think, you know, with everything that's going on, it's the housing market, I think, is going to be one of the things that pulls us out of what's going on. And there are going to be, like me, a lot of people looking in the next couple months and to make a change and to move. So I think it'll be good.
Well, thank you so much for shedding a little bit of light on exactly what a forbearance is, because I know it's really confusing, and I appreciate you like saying, look, you need it, it's there. If you don't, please don't take advantage, because it only on the end. So
awesome. All right, well, we'll share our information on this, so you can reach out to us with any questions. But everybody stay safe out there, and we'll look forward to unquarantining.
Stay home.
And
what is it? Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Don't touch me.
Yeah.
And, you know, whatever. Everyone stay healthy.
Yes. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, Leigh.